Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. LD, I know he promised to be here last week, to be here this week, but he got delayed today, so you got me again. Oh, what a shame. I know. But we won't tell him that. Anyway, tonight we have a phenomenal guest who has some amazing information on healing, and he's going to tell us all about it. And I can testify or give you a feedback as to my experiences with it so far. So, Tom Paladino, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I am well, and thank you for the invitation to speak to your audience.
You're more than welcome. So tell the audience about you and how you got to here, basically.
Okay. I am a researcher. My name's Tom Paladino. I research with an energy known as scalar energy. Some people call that Tesla energy or 0-point energy. And I've developed Scalar Light, scalar energy instruments that control that energy. So to illustrate, this is not electricity or magnetism. This is a different spectrum of energy. Scalar energy, the energy from the sun and the stars, in which we can accomplish so much with this technology. We'll explore some of the benefits of using this technology in the next hour, and you will see the benefits, you'll see the merit of this new technology and how we can change the world with this technology.
Very good. Very good. So, when did you really get into this research?
I was a youngster at the age of 10 or 11, and I read Nikola Tesla, and I understood, at least in theory, what the great scientist Nikola Tesla was doing. And what was he doing? He was working with energy, non-physical energy later in his life from the sun and the stars. And that's what I've mastered. Scalar energy is a non-physical dimension. It's spirit, actually. It's information, pure intelligence. So it started when I was a youngster, 10, 11 years of age. Now I'm 64 years of age. After 50 years, I've learned something. And Tesla was right. There is another energy spectrum, the energy of the sun and the stars. I've harnessed that with these instruments behind me. So it's been essentially a half a century of study.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely you've got a hold on it and you understand it. And I could honestly say that in the few days that I have been receiving the energy, I have felt a lot better, been able to walk easier because I was suffering from some pains in my ankles. And it's just amazing. And it hasn't been with medicine, people. It has only been with this type of scalar energy. So tell us how you came about doing the actual equipment or thinking about.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to meet a family by the name of Hieronymus, and the Hieronymus family developed the initial prototype of this instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pointing to a scalar energy instrument. Now you'll notice there's no moving parts. This instrument simply captures or recreates sunlight or starlight. Now with that, this energy instrument then will funnel the energy, will channel it to Tesla coils. Now the instrument is operating. The instrument is so powerful, if I hold a light bulb in my hand close to the instrument, it illuminates under the influence of scalar energy. So this is free energy,
Mm-hmm.
energy that we can send anywhere in the universe to work in any capacity. Here's another experiment. I hold a light bulb up to the instrument.
Yep.
So
And as people can see, that's still in the package and everything. So it isn't like you could do a trick to it.
yeah. So this is obviously not an electrical instrument. This is a
Right.
different type of energy that we can illuminate light bulbs in my hands.
Right.
Now, what's the point here? Well, energy is fundamental. Energy dictates nature. Energy does what we ask it to do.
Mm-hmm.
So to be very clear, energy is fundamental. It's the only fundament of the universe. Everything else derives from energy, from light.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the driver's seat. I want to make this very clear. Working with energy puts me in the driver's seat. This is not a chemical reaction. I do not work with the human biology or animal biology.
Right.
I work at a higher plane, the
Mm-hmm.
plane of information or intelligence or intention. I do not work at the lower plane of physicality.
Right. So basically you're working with angels and you're working
Yes.
with spirit, you're
Yes.
working with the divine, you're working with
Thank you.
all the light beings out there. Now,
Yes.
I would take a guess that you also work with what people call aliens or galactics,
I
because
believe I believe angels are composed of this energy.
yes.
I believe this is angelic energy,
Mm-hmm.
angelic light.
Mm-hmm.
Angels are non-physical. They're pure celestial beings.
Yes.
This energy controls that energy of the divine dimension. Keep in
Mm-hmm.
mind, this energy is non-physical. There's no electrons or protons involved. Electrons and protons are mass. This is massless. This is non-physical.
Right. And how did you develop the protocol? It's a very simple protocol,
Yes, it is.
and anybody can do it.
Yes.
So tell us about it.
Okay. So after I developed these instruments, then I said to myself, how do I apply this? How can I help people? Now, bear in mind, this is not electricity. So I'm going to explain how I help people through their photograph. I'm holding up my photograph.
Mhm.
My photograph has energy attached to it. There's a light source, there's a light signature.
Right.
I never work with people, I work with photographs.
Right.
Our hostess, Glenda, has sent me her photograph. I work
Mhm.
through her photograph.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an information field that we work through.
Mm-hmm.
This is the non-physical contact of information. We don't
Right.
contact people, we contact their aura, or people bilocate to my laboratory.
Right.
So this proves teleportation. People
Mm-hmm.
teleport to my laboratory by way of their photograph.
Mm-hmm.
You can be in two places at once. You can bilocate.
Right.
And that's what my instrument allows. Now, if I hold up my photograph to the instrument,
Mm-hmm.
I can download the light. So
Mm-hmm.
what am I saying? I can enlighten myself. I can enlighten my chakras with this instrument. If I hold this light right next to my photograph, you'll see that the light illuminates.
Right.
That amount of light is going into my psyche right now. I actually feel that in
Mm-hmm.
my forehead, in my cranial region. I feel that. I can feel that light. It's tingling.
Yes.
What's the point here? That is a chakra balancing. This is how I balance people's chakras with light, with energy. And the upshot, the result is people said that they sleep better or they're
Mm-hmm.
happier. This elevates their mood. It makes them not only happier, but some people say it can lift depression. Others say that this helps them to curb their alcohol intake, or it's been shown with some people to curb their drug addiction.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? It happens through a divine impulse. As you said, this is the divine realm, the spiritual realm.
Right.
This is not physical. There's no chemicals involved. So when we work through a person's photograph, it's mistake proof. We don't make mistakes because the energy does all the work. The energy influences the force field on the photograph. Now, to use an analogy, Glenda and I are having a conversation through our computer.
Correct.
We're sharing our image. You see my image, I see Glenda's image, and we're communicating. Well, this is my image. This instrument is communicating through this instrument, not through a computer, but through this instrument. So we can communicate through a computer, then we can now communicate by way of a photograph.
Very good. Yes. And what kind of illnesses or conditions or symptoms can you help?
The instrument does what I tell it to do. And I've recognized that your instructions have to be accurate. If your instructions are accurate, the instrument will carry out your instructions. Now, let's say I wanted to eradicate the human papillomavirus.
Right.
This is a photograph of the human papillomavirus. It's common with many people. There's energy on this photograph. This is a magnified photograph. It shows the structure, the genetic structure of human papillomavirus. If I wanted to identify this and negate the human papillomavirus in a person, I only have to work in their quantum field. Again, this is not biological. What do? I place these two photographs inside the instrument because the photographs communicate. If Glenda and I are having a communication, the two photographs can likewise communicate.
Right.
So follow my thinking. By placing these two photographs in the quantum field, both start to communicate with one another. And if I have the human papillomavirus as a signature in my quantum field, this instrument will find the human papillomavirus and negate it, move it aside, bring it to a state of chaos.
Okay.
Disassemble it, call it what you will. So once again, placing my photograph inside the instrument, the white light, the angelic light, downloads the information from the human papillomavirus into my quantum field. Through this communication, we can identify human papillomavirus and eradicate it. It's simple, it's straightforward, it works because a photograph is a source of light. My photograph receives the light, and the instrument carries out the function. So my work is flawless because there's no human intervention. There's no human reasoning.
Right.
It's a light process. I only work with light. There's no human input here.
Which is very important because, this way you know for sure that it's energy.
Yes.
Working with energy.
Yes.
It is the divine speaking to the divine in you, basically.
Yes. Yes. And the divine never makes a mistake. People make mistakes.
Yes.
So that's why I'm so emboldened with this type of research. Many times we have to program a computer. We have to program some type of electrical device in our home. I understand that.
Right.
There's no programming here. It's inbuilt. You don't program anything. I've never programmed this energy. I can't. I'm not smarter than God.
Right.
So this is why it's so promising. A lot of people say supercomputers or artificial intelligence. I have something much more profound, something that's infinitely wise that does not take any programming. Scalar energy is the programming of the universe. It's infinite program.
Very true. Very true. And so give us an example of a condition that's besides an actual cell, or say somebody who has, for example, lupus or fibromyalgia or asthma.
Some people have fibromyalgia, and I can't make this direct comparison.
Right.
This is suggestive.
Right.
Sometimes people have this virus, the Epstein-Barr virus. It's associated with mononucleosis. Right. Some people associate this with fibromyalgia, with joint pain, with muscle pain, etc. Why? Because this causes inflammation.
Right.
It can go so far as to infect our thyroid, and some people say that Epstein-Barr causes Hashimoto's syndrome,
Yes.
an autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
Fibromyalgia is some type of autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
So many times pathogens are the leading cause or contribute to, let's call it autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience is this: by placing a photograph of the Epstein-Barr virus inside my instrument, next to my photograph, once again, the instrument, the energy will identify Epstein-Barr in my quantum field and eradicate it, remove it. Now, what's the upshot? If you negate Epstein-Barr, at least from the information field, people start to feel better.
Right.
Many people say they no longer have the symptoms of Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's is associated with the Epstein-Barr virus, if you will, infecting the thyroid, causing an overexpression of antibodies. Well, if you remove the Epstein-Barr virus, then you no longer have that overexpression of antibodies. You no longer many times have the autoimmune condition, Hashimoto's. So this is a step-by-step process. This is a cause and effect relationship that we'll have to explore. Now, I want people to explore with us. This is a new and emerging science. I'll be the first to say that nobody has ever duplicated my results. Nobody yet has ever invented an instrument like this to duplicate my results.
Right.
So for the time being, I have to rely upon testimonies. I'm going to share this PCR test with your audience, and I'll let the audience make the judgment. An individual had infection for years with the Epstein-Barr virus. We worked with their photograph. After we worked with the person's photograph, they submitted a PCR test to us for Epstein-Barr. And this is the test result. There's no viral load for Epstein-Barr after we worked with this individual.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
Ooh,
Now,
gives me chills.
What does that mean? Well, it's subject to interpretation. Why? This is a new science. But according to this individual, they feel great. They don't have the symptoms of Epstein-Barr virus, and they shared with us their PCR test that shows no viral load. Now, all of that remains subjective. Why? Nobody can prove that scalar energy, the angelic realm, exists. We haven't been able to measure the energy, even though we can feel it. Right. Nobody can prove that a photograph has scalar energy to it. I want to make this clear. Scalar energy, scalar light is a new branch of physics. It's quantum physics. But you speak to people about quantum physics, there's a poor understanding of quantum physics. And if you can find a college textbook that shares their thoughts or their viewpoints on quantum physics, it's theoretical because nobody's measured quantum. And unless you can measure it, you don't have the ability to judge its effect. So what am I saying? Scalar energy is angelic. It's divine energy. It's consciousness. I don't think we'll ever be able to measure scalar energy. It's non-physical.
Right. It's how can you measure the divine? How can you measure consciousness? Exactly. So, I mean, that is wonderful because a person who's been infected for so long, and then get test results that they're basically clear, that's amazing. Because I'm sure that they went through the whole gamut of different testing, different medicines, different everything, just to get rid of that. So
I'll let your audience decide. Here's another Epstein-Barr test result. After being infected with Epstein-Barr, following up after submitting their photograph to us, there's no viral load.
Yeah.
Undetectable. Here's another PCR test. Undetectable.
There you go.
Okay. So it's subject to interpretation. I'll be the first to say that. This is a new science, and nobody's been able to duplicate my work. And why do I keep mentioning that? Well, unless somebody comes along who can either duplicate my work to prove or disprove my work, then you have to take my word for it. I'm the only one who's doing this.
Right. But, somebody's got to be the first one to do it. So I'm glad that you were able to get the insight for it and continue, because a lot of people may have done the research, but they were, oh no, it's going to take too long. Everybody's going to laugh at me.
Yeah.
All that, uh, let's face it, people who don't understand things do not try to understand it.
You're
So
right.
they just work against it.
Yeah. And they limit themselves. We
Right.
all have incredible ability.
Yes.
Simply open your mind to the fact that Tesla energy, the energy that I work with, Tesla knew it was real.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's real.
Mm-hmm.
I have instruments that prove that it's real.
Right.
So we have to now be open to this new branch of physics,
Right.
a branch of physics in which a person's biorhythms, so to speak, are on a
Mm-hmm.
photograph.
Mm-hmm.
I can ascertain somebody's heartbeat on a photograph.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So now you have um, done a few interviews, of course, and stuff like that. But when did you finally decide that you were going to do this and launch it out completely?
Yeah. Well, if I started at age 10 or 11 studying Tesla, it was 40 years in the making. And I arrived at the point where I had perfected these instruments. Now, I'm very cautious before I mention anything publicly, and I back it up with test results, or I back it up at least with testimonies.
Right.
So to answer your questions, it took me 30 years to bring this to the attention of the public.
Right.
I was an obscure researcher.
Hmm.
About 11 years ago, I decided to come public with this because I had great success. I had success that was repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
So I demonstrated that the energy performed a function that I admired and that I was sought after, and that those functions were repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a lark. I can indeed control this energy and I can control the outcome.
Right.
That's why I brought this public.
Right. So it wasn't a fly by night type of thing. Oh, suddenly you got the idea, you put it together, and boom. That's what I wanted to show the audience, that you have been doing this for a long time, even before you brought it out into the public. And you wanted to make sure it did work. You had feedback. You had people experiencing it, and it isn't just a 1, 2, 3 type of thing, because there's a lot of people that come out there and to say things and do things, and they don't realize that there's got, in order for you to really manage anything, you really should have some feedback, some background, some understanding, some real research, not just
Yes.
put it together and send it out.
Yes. Thank you.
So now, with you in your website, you say that anybody who goes there could get 15 days free of these sessions. So they basically just go to your website and fill out the form and send in photographs.
Correct.
Now,
Right.
do you require them, say, for example, they send their family, their sons and daughters photographs, do you require them to have permission from their sons and daughters? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
If you send in family photographs, if your children are of age, then
Right.
please get their permission. If you are the guardian of your children, then you have the right to treat them.
Right.
But if you decide to send in family and friends, tell them, or better yet, tell them to go to the website and sign up themselves.
Right.
So it is on a permission basis. We like people to be at least 18 years of age to sign up for the free sessions. I think that's pertinent. And if you will, include your pets,
Mm-hmm.
because you can judge the outcome, or you can at least gauge the outcome, how your pet, your dog, your cat, your horse feels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep in mind, your animals are not really capable of a placebo effect.
Right.
They're not aware that they're being treated with an energy instrument in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage people also send in photographs of your pets, and then you could judge by the way your pets respond.
Right.
Keep in mind, this is a new science.
Hmm.
It cannot be proven.
Right.
We're so new, we cannot prove or disprove this. I'll
Right.
be the first one to tell you there's no test for scalar energy. You can't even measure the energy. So how could you test it if you can't measure it?
Right.
You can't measure consciousness,
Correct.
but you can see the before and after results.
Right. Which to me, that in a way is testing, because you may not be able to measure the amount of energy, because maybe even each person receives different levels of energy because that's what we require. Somebody's Epstein Barr level was a lot higher than somebody else's, so they may require a stronger dosage per se.
Yeah.
Would you say that's correct, or?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? We have to be open to everything. As a scientist, I have to be open to everything. Now, on my website, we have thousands of testimonies,
Mhm.
and I read those testimonies and I learn from them. Why? Well, that's the only way I can judge my work, through a testimony. How are people responding? The key is, does this help people? At the end of the day, we could speak about science all day long,
Right.
but what's the point of research? To help people.
Mhm.
And by the thousands of testimonies I have on my website, we are helping people.
Very good. Yes, I've seen some of them. I have read some of them. It's outstanding, really
Okay.
outstanding. So now I have to ask this question. Your family, when you first started doing all the working on all this, and
Yes.
you were in the garage, for example, hitting
Yes.
away for hours, what was that like? 'Cause,
My
yeah,
wife has always been understanding because she understands me,
right,
and she realizes I'm grounded and that I approach this scientifically.
right,
These are engineered instruments. You cannot fool engineering.
right.
Engineering is a solid science. Engineering is predicated upon the laws of science. But I had some family members who were dubious, and they just said, "Well, that's Tommy being Tommy," and so be it. But the key, I like this, is a great question. The key is I follow the laws of science.
Right.
So this is grounded. This is
Right.
not hyperbole. Okay? This is not a lark. I
Mm-hmm.
follow the laws of science.
I always ask those strange questions because I know my audience. They come up with those questions and then they send me the email. So, what did the family say? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll ask.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
okay. Because,
It's not good.
you
Now,
know,
to a greater extent, what
uh,
does the general public think of me? Well, I think people realize I'm grounded
right.
and that I'm logical and that I approach this very logically, and that
Mhm.
any statement I make is by way of observation, years of observation. This
Mhm.
is no knee-jerk comment on my part. I don't allow emotion to get into my work. This is science. This is science-based. These are engineered instruments. So with all of that in mind, we're following the laws of science. And
Mhm.
science is immutable. The laws cannot be changed. The laws are set in granite.
Yes. And now you're offering the 15 days for free
Yes.
because you want everyone to be able to receive this and to get a chance to try it out, um, and well, also at the same time give you some feedback so you can understand it better, because
Yes.
the more feedback you get, the more understanding of different conditions, pathogens, and illnesses in general. um, have you had cases where the person had all of the testing done and everything seems to be clear, but they say that they didn't feel it?
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Right,
And why? Because I cannot per se heal the body.
right, right.
This is an energy instrument. that can negate a signal of a virus
Right.
or can negate the signal of a bacterium.
Right.
I can guarantee that through my photographs. I cannot guarantee biological healing. Why? I never worked with a person in my life. This is a new science that's outside of medical Western medicine. It's a new science of energy in which we're working with a person's aura, their force field.
Right.
If you look at me as a man, this is flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
I contend there's an aura, there's a force field around me that modern day science does not realize.
Right.
You can call it the aura, you can call it consciousness, you can call it Christ consciousness. I have an aura or a force field around me.
Right.
That's what I access. I believe in theory. I don't access the physical human body because my work, the energy is non-physical. So the non-physical energy has to act upon a non-physical canopy. The aura is non-physical. That interfaces with non-physical light. A chemical acts upon the physical body. I can prove that at least by this demonstration. Anytime I work with this instrument, I never have a chemical reaction. Why? It's not a chemical. Why? I don't interface with the biological body. Why? It's non-physical. If this was a physical action, then it will have a physical manifestation. There's no physical manifestation. For instance, when I work with a photograph, I never have a chemical reaction.
Right.
I never have a Herxheimer reaction.
Right.
I never see an overdose. I never see dizziness or swelling or pain. I don't work in the physical, biological realm.
Right.
I work in a higher realm of spirit.
And it's just a whole different other type of feeling for sure. What kind of other pathogens or illnesses do you work through or with?
I like my work because I can program it
Okay.
with a photograph of a microbe, because then there's no guesswork. And I don't want to get into medical terms because I don't work in the realm of medicine. I'm not a medical professional.
Right.
So I keep it all on the energetic level, on the level of aura.
Right.
Which I'm working with the aura of a photograph on a photograph.
So the person may request, say, for a virus, the flu, and what their aura is saying, or their angelic realm is saying, well, you may need to help with the flu, but you also need help with something else.
Yep.
When you set the photograph of the flu virus there with their photograph, have you experienced that there's sometimes more than just what was requested, more healing than just requested?
Many times it's inflammation. Many times it's a poor diet. Many times their surrounding, their environment is infected. Many times it's a poor attitude. So there's only so much I can do. Yes, I have the ability to eradicate the flu virus or the norovirus. Yes.
Right.
But that's not all there is to human health or biological health, or for the matter that I'm working with quantum health. So we have to be very open. What are the problems that are people facing? The human body is so, and the human mind and the human aura is so magnificent, and it's so involved. I keep it simple by only working in the aura or the force field. I never work with human biology.
Right.
And I keep it simple by working with photographs of problems. This is the energetic signature of the human papillomavirus.
Right.
If I keep all of my work simple, it works. I never get off that beaten path, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. It makes sense. It's just like I said, I was just wondering if the results were more than just that virus, because I know that working with divine energy, angelic energy, sometimes they they realize, oh, wait a second, this person is asking for help with the flu virus, or or whatever virus it is, and yet they know that it's something else also that is attached to that.
Yes.
Because yeah, so
For instance, I have
mhm,
photographs of the adenovirus that's been
right,
associated with the flu,
right,
and throughout the course of a day, I work with other viruses. I actually have 400,000 photographs of different pathogens. Adenovirus is one of
right,
them.
okay,
So yes, I can eradicate or at least nullify the energy of so many different flu viruses.
hmm,
But at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, how did the person get the flu in the first place?
hmm,
What are they doing that made them susceptible to the flu? Is it a poor diet? What is it? And how is it on their end that they can be proactive to reduce that exposure to the flu virus? So I can't give that information. I'm not a physician or a nurse.
right,
Now the day is coming when we will hopefully see we can marry quantum healing with
hmm,
biological healing.
yes,
I've not been able to do that yet because no clinic has ever worked with me hand in hand to understand how we marry non-physical healing with physical healing.
well, the day will come because
Yes.
even with Reiki healing, which is also energy, the
Mhm.
hospitals before we went into the pandemic were accepting volunteers to come in and give Reiki treatments to patients, especially those that had just come out of surgery. So I am sure it's just around the corner. It's just a matter of getting this information out. And you never know. There may be somebody who watches this and looks at it and says, oh, wait. This may be good for my clinic.
That would be ideal, and that's what I need. Keep in mind, I'm one researcher,
Right,
and as far as I'm concerned, I've proven it to myself. It
right,
works.
right,
Well, there's 8 billion people in the world. How am I going to prove this now to 8 billion people? Well, that's why we offer the 15-day free session.
right.
We want people to sign up for the free sessions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I could definitely testify. It's been working for me, and every day I've been feeling better and better, and every day I do feel the energy. But I also work with consciousness, the healing divine, and all that other stuff. So I'm aware when there's an energy shift, and I make sure that I am very cautious and conscious of everything that shifts in my body for many reasons. But now, what do you do once the person does their 15 days and they go and they say okay, I want to sign up for whatever, another sessions or another session period would be, and how would you do it? Would you do it like just send the same thing, send a photograph and ask for a
Right.
specific thing, or
Exactly. Some people, after the 15 days, if they're convinced, then they
mhm,
become a paying subscriber.
mhm,
We have a program at $89 a month. I try and make this very affordable.
right,
The goal of my research is to make this easy, simple, affordable. I don't want to follow the model of big medicine or big business.
right,
I want to keep this small. I want to keep this grassroots. I'm not going to sell shares of stock in this research. I'm
right,
not going to take on a board of directors. I don't want those mistakes. I don't want those headaches.
right,
So I'm trying to keep this small. I'm trying to keep this a grassroots effort. That
mhm,
way I can control it and I can leave aside all of the corruption.
mhm,
I can be free of all that corruption, of all of that political intrigue.
mhm, mhm. And so they become a member, and so they receive every day, like I've been receiving every day, an email with the specifics as to what's being sent to me that particular day. Okay, that's
Yeah.
very good. That's
When
very
people sign up, we include a daily email, and in
good.
so doing, we explain to them what is happening.
Hmm,
We we go into the nature of scalar energy. We explain it by testimony. We give people something that they can compare to. As a new science, the testimonies are the key right now.
Right.
There is no testing. There is no university that wants to work with me.
Right.
So I have to rely upon people and their testimony. And that is really speaking volumes for our work.
Well, that speaks volumes to me, because to me, I go more on what someone else who has experienced it tells me than by somebody who's trying to sell me something. Tell me, it's just like the old Western Eastern medicine. It's very different. One is basically based on more natural things, energy and herbs and all that other stuff. And the other one is more based on chemically produced medicines.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's very important that the person not only does their own research, but just the feedback, the testimonies. That is very important.
Yes, it tells the story.
Right.
Without any scientific testing, and there's no way to test this energy right now. You can't measure it. So without any scientific data, you cannot measure this. How do you test it? By testimonies. That's the testimony. And the testimonies are excellent. I'm going to speak to the audience in a minute about a clinic that I'm working with in India. It's an HIV clinic. Can I segue into that?
Yes, go ahead.
There is a clinic by the name of Om Prakash. Om Prakash is an HIV clinic in Delhi, India. This clinic is working with me. They've been working with me for years. This is one of the photographs from the Om Prakash HIV clinic in Delhi, India. I've never been to India. Well, I simply received photographs. I've received over 5,000 photographs from India. And after working with these people from India, they feel better. Why? Well, my theory is if I take a photograph of the HIV virus and match it up, communicate it with their photograph, there's a communication between the force field of HIV and the people. Again, this is a photograph from the clinic in Delhi, India. This is a photograph of the HIV virus. I place both of these photographs in the instrument. There is an interpretation, a scalar interpretation of HIV identified in the people, and then the instrument, the energy, will negate the signal of HIV in the people. Okay?
Wonderful.
All done by way of photographs, by way of intelligence. Now, after I work with these people, here's one test result that was sent to us. This individual from the Om Prakash HIV clinic tells us that they're asymptomatic. They no longer have any symptoms of HIV.
That's wonderful.
And their test result is undetectable. No viral load detected. Well, that's music to my ears. That's a great testimony. And that's where we're at right now. 5,000 people in Delhi, India tell us that they feel better. That's a great testimony. And their test results are coming back negative. No viral load.
That's definitely scientifically explained and proven.
Yes.
Whether people can measure that energy or not, it doesn't make any difference. Right there, they're going from being tested positive to no virus. That's amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Now, keep in mind, I only work through photographs. So can we explain this by Western science? No. Western science does not realize that there's scalar energy signals on a photograph. By the way, Western science, what you learn today in academia, this is never taught, that a scalar energy signal from the sun or the stars is found on a person's photograph. This is my discovery with my predecessor, Dr. Hieronymus. So why is it that this new and emerging branch of physics is not taught by academia? Even though Tesla developed instruments, even though I have an instrument, my predecessor, Hieronymus had a scalar energy instrument. We've proven this through testimonies. Why is it that this is not being taught by academia? Ask yourself that question.
Very simple. There'd be a lot of healed people walking around the world.
It's about money. Sadly, this money and power are the impediments to advancing this science.
Mm-hmm.
And shame on those in the position of authority and power who are standing in the way. Okay. Yep. Progress must continue. We must move forward. We need solution to problems. Mm-hmm. I am offering solutions. Mm-hmm. After being public about this for 12 years now, I'm rather dismayed that my work has not been embraced. Why? It's actively suppressed. That's why.
Yes, well, yes. They try anything and everything, don't they?
Yes, they do. And that's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you see yourself enhancing this right now? Do you have plans to continue more advanced equipment? Yes.
Yes, I have to. Thank you, Glenda. And I need God's wisdom. There's only so much I can do. This is divine training. This is divine science. This is beyond man.
That was channeled.
Yes.
That's channeled.
Yes, it is. And I'm waiting for God to give me the message. I think we can cure thousands of diseases with this energy. I think this energy is responsible for gravity, so we should be able to create anti-gravity instruments. Mm-hmm. I believe if we can illuminate a light bulb locally, we'll be able to illuminate a light bulb 1,000 miles away.
Right.
If the sky's the limit, so to speak. And I'm just waiting for God to give me that wisdom.
And I have a feeling you're going to have it soon for the next step into it.
Yes.
Because I really believe that no matter where you are, this is going to cause curiosity, if nothing else.
Yes.
And then going to your website and seeing all the feedback and seeing all the testimonies and all those results. I mean, scientifically biological results.
Yes.
You know, that you cannot negate. It's all there. Black and white, basically.
Yes. You cannot dispute these test results.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's subject to interpretation, but why is it that everybody from the clinic, if they submit their photograph, after I work with them, here's another PCR test, no viral load. Why?
Exactly.
Why is this happening? Well, I think that's more than just chance. I think we're beyond the realm of probability here. We're getting to the point of cause and effect.
Exactly. And placebo effect, that could be if they feel better. But to back it up with testing, that's a whole different other story.
I mentioned this, when we're working with certain viruses such as HIV or even the herpes virus. Mm-hmm. These viruses are deemed by medical science to be per se incurable. Once you have the herpes virus, you have it for life.
Right.
Once you are infected with HIV, mm-hmm. there's no known drug to eradicate it. Correct. Well, I'm saying we can eradicate both herpes and HIV in the quantum realm, mm-hmm. energetically through intelligence. Now, does that mean that it filters down from the spiritual down to the biological? We don't know. I don't know. Nobody can prove that yet.
Right. But, I mean, you're definitely heading in the right direction with all these testing and all the people sending you their actual blood tests, their scientific data. Yeah. That's very important.
You're right. The testimonies are accompanied by the scientific data.
Right.
I want to explain one more protocol that I'm working with.
Oh, sure.
Remember, I only work with photographs because photographs never lie.
Right.
A photograph is beyond human interpretation. I'm going to hold up a photograph of riboflavin. That's a magnified photograph of riboflavin. This is how I, by the way, achieve my nutrition every day. I don't take a multivitamin. If I take this photograph of riboflavin and place it inside my instrument side by side this photograph,
Mm-hmm.
energetically, I receive the energy of riboflavin into my quantum field. Now, I don't take a chemical. I don't swallow a vitamin. I don't drink a protein shake.
Mm-hmm.
All of my work is non-physical. There's no chemicals. I receive the energy of riboflavin, which enhances my being. I believe this nutrient program that I developed has helped me keep young, healthy. My skin is young. I have a good complexion.
Mm-hmm.
I believe energetically downloading, or call it what you will, imparting the intelligence of micronutrients through photographs has abetted my health.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So it is helping not only to get rid of the negative, but
Yeah.
also to add the positive.
Precisely. And this is why our group, our grassroots group, is so happy. There's no negative consequences. There's no chemical side effects. We're not working with chemicals. You cannot have a chemical overdose with a photograph.
Right.
Your photograph cannot get dizzy. You can only send energy into your photographic force field, the energy of a vitamin. So it's safe. You cannot harm a photograph.
Exactly. Perfect. Now, we have about 5 minutes or so. We're coming towards the end. Is there anything you have not said that you really would like to talk about?
I'm going to mention something that I've not mentioned yet. I'm working with farmers now. I'm going to hold up a photograph from Tanzania. We're working with cattle. These are goats. And by working with these goats, the goats are healthy. They're essentially germ-free. This is what they're telling me in Tanzania. And the goats are happy, and they're procreating. They're having other goats.
Okay.
And the goats are healthy because I'm treating the goats with microbes, with germs.
Right.
Okay? And I'm also treating the goats with nutrients on a daily basis. And the livestock is healthy. So this works for people. It works for animals. It works for plants. I envision in the future that we will be working with millions of people as well as livestock through their photograph, through their force field. My goal is to work with 1 billion people a year through their photographic force field.
Wonderful. And you never know. You may work with farmers and help their crops because, some years they could have some pests and mess it up, and you will be able to energetically do that. And that to me, I could, wow, it's amazing. It's just amazing.
You see the capability here.
Yeah.
This is far-reaching, not only with people, with livestock. My goodness, the sky is the limit with this energy.
Exactly. So we're gonna just tell everyone again, please go to the website. It's in the chat, and it's also going to be in the description, and it's right up on the screen. Sign up and, enjoy those 15 days free. So you can't say you don't have the money or anything like that. This is your chance, and be open and receive what you need. So thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank
you for being open-minded. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for speaking up as to how you responded.
Of course.
Again, the goal here is to help humanity. That's my goal. The purpose of invention, the purpose of any type of technology is to support people, to improve the human condition.
And we need improvement right now. That's for
Yes,
sure.
we do. We need help.
So I wanted to say I am so glad that you came on, and you're more than welcome to come back later on sometime to bring us up to date as to what other stuff you've been up to. I'm waiting for that book so you can really get out there and uh, go to a different audience, the readers. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you again, Tom, for being here. Thank you for all the healing you've been sending to the family, myself and the family. And thank you to our audience. Please hold on, Tom. I just want to say thank you. And as always, guys, love you. Bye.